You're listening to Empire of Rust, the world's first and only Transformers RPG podcast. Join the fight as Carapace, Rex, Magnum, Wildstrike, and Sweet Spot fight their way through Icon's underworld against criminal empires and a movement determined to bring an end to the Cybertronian Confederation.
Welcome back, everyone, to Empire of Rust. Isn't this amazing, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Finish up the big fight.
Hello.
Oh, well, hi. How you doing?
All right.
How you doing there, Matt?
All right. How have you been?
I'm doing
excited for the next episode.
That's good. That's good. I'm excited, too. I'm excited for a whole bunch of episodes.
Yeah.
My excitement level's, like, up to my neck.
Yeah.
You don't say.
Not in over my head.
Haven't seen you guys since last season.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike? How you doing over there?
I'm doing pretty well.
Enjoying the summer now? Or I should say, enjoying the summer as it's coming to a close?
Oh. I got nothing.
Got all your back-to-school shopping done?
I just got depressed real fast is what I got.
Yeah.
Oh. What about you, Pat? How you doing over there? How you doing down on Rhode Island?
I'm doing okay. I'm in my finals week, so I've got a lot of studying still to do, but I'm doing well.
Somebody's getting A's.
Yep.
Top of his class.
I'm hoping to get all A's, but one of those is unlikely. Probably get a B.
Don't worry. I have confidence that your whole report card will be an A. It's going to be an A-hole all the way around.
That's true.
If you just fold it and then put it up on the table, it becomes like an A card. Looks like an A.
Oh, yeah. Okay. The triangles. Yeah, that's neat. Triangles.
And what about you, Adam, huh?
What I do? It wasn't me. The guy was dead when I got there, I swear. It has been a good summer, presumably, and I am glad that it's coming to an end because I'm a big, heavy-set guy with a lot of fur. I do not do well in the heat.
He's also a werewolf.
No, I'm not. How dare you?
Yeah, your beard is your beard's no joke.
No joke at all.
I think he meant to say magnificent.
That is also an acceptable answer. The judges will also accept epic, godlike, and as though it were made of the fleece of the golden fleece.
We have to fight a dragon.
I think you're overselling this.
You mean like it sat on a rock for 500 years?
Have you seen my
When was
beard
the last time
recently?
you saw it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might be underselling.
Is it down to your belly button yet?
Yep.
Oh, man. Okay. I take it all back.
And the side scruff practically covers my shoulders. Roar.
Just don't want any dude with a mechanical owl coming to try to kill you.
It's an oddly specific concern.
I've never been able to grow like a beard of length.
Just width, huh?
That's because you keep shaving it.
Well, no, I mean I've tried in the past to like let it go, and it just doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah.
Really, it doesn't take a lot of effort to let a beard grow. It takes a lot of effort to stop it.
I do get where you're going, though. Different people have different kinds of beards, though. My uncle is like that. It just sort of sits there and does nothing and spits body.
Yeah.
You also get to that. There's always the phase that you really, really want to shave it off because it's making your face itch really, really badly.
That's the length I keep my beard all the time.
The itchy length?
And I wonder why I itch my face the entire day.
I mean, for me, it's like when I get to the stage where it starts like reaching out and grabbing lamps and breaking them over my head, like that's where I start like, come on, man.
Don't understand your crazy moon language.
I'm glad somebody got that reference.
Yeah, that only happens to me when I go for the scissors for like an arts and craft project and the beard takes it the wrong way.
You know how often that happens to me? Tops. 2-3 times a week. Today we have a special episode for everyone because we have just went through a big revision to our rule set. So for those of you who don't know, we put together a homebrew rule set for Empire of Rust using Starfinder and the Mechamorphosis supplement back when we started this whole shindig. And after playing for a good 2 years, we found the things that work and the things that don't work. So we went ahead and we did a big update to our rules, adding a whole bunch of different class features, adjusting and rebalancing all our classes, and reworking the way our alt modes work so that's a better way of rebuilding, a better way of dealing with our alt modes. All this really, really neat stuff. And we've been kind of like tweaking it here and there, off and on over the last couple months to see just what would work best for it. And it is so good to let everyone know that it is now time for us to actually start using it for real. Which means that in addition to the level 6 level up that all of you got at the end of the last session, also there's going to be some rebuilding and some adjusting to your existing builds. Some of you have tuned and tweaked your alt modes a little bit to get you some more stuff and some more options. And Matt, you're going to have a ton of different things because not only did your alt mode change, but your class ended up changing too. So a lot of cool stuff there. So you know what? Let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So Matt, why don't you start us off? Talk about what a level 6 Magnum looks like and what changes you did to your character.
I tried to sort of keep true to the way he was before. Structures as the structure form. The neat thing about it now is like instead of being a specific type of, you start with sort of a basic type of structure. It's like offensive, defensive for specialists, and then as you level up, you can add like bays to it that do all sorts of neat things, like the repair bays and in this case, I have a sensor bay and a shield generator, which is the way he was before. But now they're both 2 bays in the same building, which also means I basically both at the same time now, which is nifty. And the hardness has been tweaked for buildings, so they're a little more durable than they were before. I mean, that fluctuated a lot, so we sort of nailed it down a bit more. I mean, we'll see how that goes. As for the class, Headmaster's been separated into its own class and reorganized a little bit to, sort of point towards a little more mental area. The tweaks, I mean, is very similar. I changed one of his abilities so he can actually emulate other feats sort of on the fly, which is very interesting.
Ooh. That sounds cool.
Yeah, I like that one. That was a new ability for the new version of the Headmaster. So, I mean, it's very similar to what he was before, but I think it's a lot more efficient or sort of better defined. And I think there's more room to grow for both of these, because in like a level or 2, I can add another bay. And also with the Headmaster, in my particular choice, I actually took a couple of feats and boosted Pythagoras up 3 levels.
So what level is Pythagoras now?
He is now 6 level as well.
Ah.
Oh, man.
He's not actually necessarily going to get a stay at the same level as everyone else, because he levels up only every other level, and the 2 feats gave him 2 extra levels. But that means he's gained 3 levels in Scientist and a bunch of neat stuff with that.
So you're effectively playing 2 6th level characters right now.
Yes, to a point. I mean, the Magnum didn't grow as much because I used 2 of his feats for that. But so he hasn't changed as much. But yes, temporarily I will be anyway. And Scientist is pretty cool too. There's a lot of, like, his healing is improved. His glass gas has gotten more powerful. He has more hit points. He has more armor. He's got a new magnetic gun, which will be fun to play with. And a few other surprises, which I think I'm going to leave for now. Scientist is a very fun class, too, I found. Now that I've gotten a chance to bump up a few levels too. I mean, I always enjoyed it, and it's just gotten more fun. So that's where we're at right now.
If you do add another bay in the future, I would suggest adding one just for Michael.
I need a bay, apparently.
He means the bay that just explodes every 5 minutes.
That's fair. So, Matt, you had taken you took multiform a couple of levels ago. So you were able to turn into 2 different buildings, but now you have, like, the bays that you have replicate both of those. You don't need both forms anymore.
No, I dropped the multiform.
So you dropped multiform? Okay.
That was actually one of the feats I used instead was the boost companion feat, which was one of the ones I used instead.
Okay.
His feats didn't get adjusted too much. One of them got adjusted slightly because the class skills changed a little bit, but that's just sort of details. So, I mean, I considered taking another multiform, and maybe I'll do it again, because if I do another building, he could have a totally 2 different new bays, too, which would be nifty. But maybe in the future. So.
Excellent. So all kind of combined together, and you made it so you could essentially be the 2 different buildings you wanted to be at the same time.
Yep, pretty much, and that'll be very handy. And the sensor bay has gotten more powerful, too.
Ooh.
So that's 6th level, so I could quadruple my sensor range now.
Damn, Magnum. You can see everything.
Whether I want to or not.
On the structure alt modes, you had 3 different choices. You had an offensive building, defensive building, and a specialist building. So which one did you go with?
I went with the specialist building. They add bays slightly faster, and he was pretty much a specialist building before, because the sensor bay would be sort of adaptable. Says a specialist sort of emphasizes utility over either attacking or defending. They're sort of, but so they have more tech slots and more bays. They get bays faster, but they don't have as much. They don't have as many weapon slots, and they don't have like the heavy duty hardness of a defensive building. So.
Specialist buildings get an additional bay every 3 levels. So you start off with your command center, and then you get one for every 3 levels instead of the every 4 levels that the offensive or defensive buildings would get. Yes.
And there is a new feat I'll probably take next level, which sort of gives you, which I like. It wouldn't have helped this level, but it basically it helps a lot of alt forms. So basically, some of your alt form features are like 2 levels higher. So for buildings, it could actually act as if I was 2 level higher for the number of bays I get. So
excellent.
So at 7th level, if I take that feat, I could get a 3rd bay.
And one thing that we did with not just the building alt modes, but all of the alt modes, is each individual piece that can be customized grows in power over time. So generally, you'll get an effect at level 1, and then that'll improve at level 6, and then again at level 12, and then again at level 18. So the levels where you would normally get racial abilities, you get bonuses to your alt mode as well.
Yeah, those are the theme levels. And like he has the shield generator and the sensor bay, and the sensor bay range goes up, and the shield power increases, the DR goes up, and the energy resistance goes up for it too, and it gets more range. So, and command center at 6th level gets a synergy ability where I can extend the range of the shield. I think like once a day.
Well, that is all good stuff, and I am scared for all my bots. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to Mike, and tell me, what does a level 6 Wild Strike look like?
First, I'll go into the vehicle alt mode, since that changed a little bit. Instead of selecting a particular vehicle, we now pick between a fast, a balanced, or a heavy vehicle. For Wild Strike, I chose a balanced vehicle.
Ooh.
And then I get 2 parts, essentially, enhanced parts, you called them. I chose Flight, which makes just perfect sense, being a jet.
Right.
And the second one I chose is Gunlift, which gives me additional weapon slots.
I think Gunlift is going to be a popular one.
Yep.
There wasn't really anything else I saw that would make sense or, really work for what I was going with. So that seemed to be the best choice for the second one. As far as Soldier goes, there really wasn't much change to Soldier. The biggest thing is the Mark's Mech abilities that I've been taking. I had Mark's Mech 1, 2, and 3. You change the way how Mark's Mech 1 worked. Instead of adding an additional D8 of damage, it now adds D6 of damage every 2 levels. And you eliminated Mark's Mech 3. So instead of Mark's Mech 3, I have Built to Last, which gives me some damage reduction. Other than that, I'm the same as I was before.
Really?
Yeah.
Not a ton of changes for you, huh?
There really wasn't. It was just the vehicle modes and the class abilities that were different.
One of the big things that we did over this revision was a lot of the abilities that required you to take like Mark's Mech 1, Mark's Mech 2, 3, 4, and just had like a big feat chain effectively in order to get to the later levels. We condensed a lot of that down to one or two abilities that grow over time. So, for example, with the Mark's Mech, and I believe we had like up to Mark's Mech 8 you could have taken.
Yeah, I believe so.
So now we have things like Mark's Mech 2 or 3 at most, and then Mark's Mech 1 is all of the damage buffs. So over time, it's just going to grow. So over every level, every 2 levels, you're going to add in some extra damage to your dice.
Yeah, I like the change. It was a good change.
And with the vehicle alt modes, and we'll talk about this a little bit as we get to everyone else as well. Vehicle alt modes, like Mike said, you pick which kind of theme you want for the vehicle, and then you pick 2 parts that will give you very unique and very kind of obvious abilities. So in your case, the flight mode gives you a flight speed in your vehicle mode, and then it will increase over time and net you a whole bunch of other neat abilities. That'd be kind of neat. So yeah, I'm kind of surprised you didn't choose like a VTOL or a hover
I was
option.
thinking about it, but I don't know. It just didn't make too much sense the way I was playing them.
Are you still going to be playing nose first or nothing?
But yeah, he doesn't need
course.
VTOL when the ground is there to stop him.
Yeah. That's how we know you.
He just got put a big piece of styrofoam on the nose cone.
Well, excellent. That's good. You are right. Soldier itself didn't really go through too many changes. Just a lot of like efficiency changes, quality of life fixes, and just bringing all the extra abilities down to like 1 or 2, so you have some more room for growth later on.
Yeah, it was a nice, easy change for my character.
Excellent. Speaking of easy changes, Carapace.
I was just going to be like, you can't be serious.
Pat, go ahead and talk about what a level 6 Carapace is going to be.
Try not to swear too much.
Yeah, so surprising nobody, my builds are complicated. And out of everything so far, mine probably had the largest changes. And we're still trying to iron out exactly what stacks or switches or changes with what. But, I have a functional character, so that's good. So I am also a vehicle. And as a tank, I chose the heavy base vehicle. And I have armor plating, which slows me down but gives me damage reduction. And I take less collision damage, and I actually gain an energy resistance. So, like, I am now, while I am a tank, I have sonic resistance 5, which is a new thing. Ooh. And I also had a gun lift because I'm a tank, and that's just kind of makes sense.
What does gun lift do exactly?
In this case, I gain the number of available weapon slots in my alt mode, and my cargo capacity both increased by 4. And at level 6, once per day, if we miss with a ranged attack, you can immediately move a weapon from your storage into one of your weapon slots and make another attack. So it's once per day you can just try and hit again, which is kind of nice. Regarding I stuck with my Triformer. So in addition to being a vehicle, I am also a Beastmaster. Pardon me, let me pull up my things. And Beastmasters have similar, but instead of having you pick 2 things, you have what are called build points. And you have 10 build points. So again, you can start off as either a strong base, an agile base, or a tough base. And since I'm this big-ass beetle thing, I took tough, which gives you certain stat modifications when you're in beetle form. And the points that I took for that are armor hide, which is almost identical to the tank, in which case I have damage reduction and energy resistance, but in this case it is acid. I have burrowing claws, so I can now burrow, ironically, faster than I can walk as a beetle, which is, we're discovering that. And I can burrow under people and knock them down by making a, unstable earth sort of thing.
Does that mean we're going to have Bugs Bunny following us everywhere now?
Yep, pretty much. That's fairly accurate. You have to purchase extra legs, and since I'm a beetle, I have to spend 2 of my points to gain extra legs, which allows me to be, it's very difficult to move me or to, knock me prone because I'm just, stable. I have equipment mounts, which is animals don't get a lot of a weapon and equipment slots, so it was just a way of allowing me to actually use some of the stuff that I have in bot mode. And I have leg actuators, which means I can jump and move very quickly. So that's very nice. So my beetle form isn't necessarily combat based. It's more utility. It's getting around. It's that kind of stuff. So that's really useful. And then for the actual class, for load bearer, quite a few things changed. Similar to the soldier, we condensed things, so instead of having to take blaster mode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, it's just blaster mode, and then it goes up by levels. But now we have a mechanic that uses something called combination points, and you have a certain number based upon your constitution. And in order to use, so for example, I am a blaster, so that means automatically, as long as I'm in blaster mode, I get a +1 bonus to ranged attacks. But at level 4, I could spend 2 combination points to increase that number to +2 and overcome some damage reduction. And as your level goes up, the number of combination points that you need to spend in order to gain those better benefits increases. So right now I can only turn into blaster mode, but you have things like Delver mode and tank mode and jet mode and that sort of stuff. So we'll discover those as we go along. And I guess secondly, the other big thing is load bearers are now considered large size when they're in their combined form. So
yeah, they are. Think
of Ultra Magnus. I'm a big ass thing now. So that's super interesting. We're going to see how that affects things. Some of the feats that I had taken were modified in such a way that I can't have them right now. So previously, I was able to shoot a lot by taking multi-shooting, but you can't take that until level 7 now. So I had to change a different feat, in which case I took enhanced resistance for electricity, because I seem to be getting hurt with electricity quite a bit. So now I have electricity resistance 6, and that's in every form, so that's great.
I think most of that has come from Wild Strike, to be honest.
I've got a lot of electricity weapons as well, so it was just I've been hitting myself a little bit, yeah.
And what's his name? Legionnaire, I think, has electricity.
Yeah, the electric shotgun. And I also thought it was mechanically, back when I actually just completed the circuit when we were on the Metallicus, the idea of building up resistance to it just felt appropriate.
Mechanical and thematic. I like it.
And lastly, I switched out my weapon focus with heavy weapons because I've been hitting kind of a lot, and I wanted to do something a little more interesting. So I have something called armor upgrades. So I can now implement tech items into my armor so that I can use them to enhance myself. And one of those things, I now have a jetpack, so I can fly while I'm in my base form, which is useful. It's not fast. I mean, it's no wild strike, that's for sure, but it's mobility. And I have one of my other tech slots that I put in was called a thermal capacitor. So the thermal capacitor allows me, I have energy resistance 5 to both cold and fire because temperature extremes just don't affect me. So I have a lot of energy resistances now. I think actually all of them, if I did my math correctly.
Sonic, acid, fire, electricity, and cold.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
And DR. So they're not all always active, but depending on what we're fighting, I can be like, oh, wait, we're getting hit by acid. Let me turn into a beetle. We're getting hit by Sonic. Let me turn into a tank. So it'll be... I just like that theme. Like, Carapace is tough. He's got this thick, adaptive shell, and it's like, oh, well, that's kind of what it is.
That's very cool.
Kind of what I did. And I think
when you're a beetle, are you bitty? Are you bitty beetle or just a regular medium beetle?
No, I actually am now, because I have the... so they call it the armor and the core. So like the core is like my normal medium-sized bot form, and the armor is kind of like the shell that goes around me. So I am now, as a tank and a beetle, I am considered large size so long as I'm inside of my armor, which for all intents and purposes will be all the time. So
never going to get out of your armor?
Why would you? It's possible. You could do, there's some nifty little things where I can kind of leave it and shoot guns from it later on, but that'll be later build stuff. So.
Watch out for the scientists.
I know, right? One of the ways of augmenting your characters are called personal upgrades. And they're realistically, besides gaining levels, they're the only ways that you can increase your stats. And everyone can have up to 3. 1 bonus of +2, 1 bonus of +4, and 1 bonus of +6. And we just got to the point where we can kind of afford the +4s and the +2s. So my character is largely, he feels that's more interesting than picking up a bigger gun. So I now have been augmented permanently so that my dexterity and constitution are higher. So I'm pretty freaking tough now.
Good to know. Excellent. Well, that was a ton of changes for you there, Pat.
Yeah, a lot happened.
So that brings us to last but certainly not least, Adam and Sweet Spot. And I think that out of all of you, I think you, Adam, probably had the least amount of changes between vehicles and between your alt mode and your class. So tell us what level 6 Sweet Spot's like.
I'm also a vehicle. Chose the fast template, of course.
Of course.
So my first alt mode, I've got acrobatic and speedster for abilities.
Of course. Perfect.
I kept as a triformer because I used the other form quite extensively toward the end. And I kind of like being the aerial transport for the group.
Sure.
Because I'm tired of taking Busatron and Rail Spike and all that other stuff. We'll get around our own way. So for the second alt mode that I have VTOL and Rescue Tech.
Oh, interesting.
Rescue Tech. What's that give you?
Rescue Tech is your alt mode is a mobile rescue vehicle packed to the rim with technology and tools to help you find injured bots and restore them to life.
Wow.
So sort of like a flying med bay that Pythagoras could operate out of if need be. So the level 1 increases increase the number of tech slots available to your alt mode by 4, increase your cargo capacity by 6, And the level 6 is, as a full action, you can douse a fire, remove acid, cleanse an area of radiation, or otherwise remove an environmental effect, GM's discretion, from 1d4 squares. This can be done multiple times to completely clean an area of contaminants.
So effectively, the rescue tech works as kind of like the equipment version of Gunlift, where it gives you more equipment slots and lets you just do more, have a bit more utility to your mode there.
Exactly right. Of course, being a Velocitron didn't really change anything there. Still got the combiner feats. The class really didn't have any changes. 6th level doesn't give you really anything for a class upgrade, except a few on the numbers. Kept the mass shifts, the multiform. Yeah, that's pretty much it. With the number of feats and everything that I had to take to keep things kind of status quo, I was not able to keep the shoulder-mounted laser, because that would have taken another thing. So now my laser is a handheld.
You had to sacrifice your weapon mount to rebuild your stuff. I understand.
Yep,
I understand.
But that's really the major change there. And I did have a list of stuff that I shopped for, and I thought I had sent it to you, but it's not really upgraded on the sheet right now. So I've yet to transfer that.
So yeah, what would you? Go ahead and tell me there, Adam. What'd you get for your shopping trip? Because don't forget, you all had 10,000 Shaniks in back pay for all of the stuff and all of the missions you went on after you were declared dead. So all the money you got was effectively retroactive payment.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's that I do not have my shopping list the paper that I used to figure everything out. And I thought I had sent it to you and upgraded my character with that stuff, but apparently I did not. If you don't remember seeing it, then I didn't even send it to you.
One additional note, Mike and I were talking in between. We actually found some money in the last adventure, so our individual shares are 712 extra. Think of it as like 10,712 as opposed to just straight 10,000.
Matt, anything that you wanted to share for equipment or anything that you bought? Anything interesting from that 10,000 Shaniks reward you got?
Just thinking about what Pat was saying, I actually I wanted to put that money towards sort of the secret project I'm working on. I actually put 15,000 to that, but could I use my upgrade, like the story upgrade, to get a personal upgrade? I guess it's 7th level to intelligence.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys can, since you'll have some time now that you've gotten back to Iacon, you can easily contact Fix-It and get some personal upgrades installed. Certainly,
he needs an assistant named Forget It. So Fix It and Forget
It. Yep.
I found my list.
Oh, go for it. What'd you get?
Just off of the notes here, I got attention deflectors.
Ooh,
good. I've had those since like level 2.
Ejector sheets.
Ejector seats?
Yeah, that's right. So don't piss off the pilot.
You have so much fun with that.
Yes. Energon converter.
Solid.
I have a pair, 2 pairs of stasis cuffs.
Always good to have. 3
inhibitor restraints. A Mach 2 hollow projector.
Nice.
Ooh.
And I'm going to spring for a pair of headlights.
Nice. So, Mike, Pat, anything that you want to share for your rewards that you got?
Well, firstly, I took the ice carbine and the plasma bolter that we got off of the guy last time.
Oh, quick switch's weapons. Yeah, those are some badass weapons.
He also had a scimitar, which nobody seemed to claim, so I don't know if anybody wants that.
A Disciple Blaze Scimitar.
I'll hold on to it, but if anybody wants it, they can take it.
I don't have a strong desire for it, but I can use it. So if you were like, hey, I'm overburdened, or you don't ever intend to use it, then I can. But I think I'm the only one else in the party that has access to advanced melee weapons.
Does Legionnaire?
I believe he's a soldier, right?
He is?
Yes, and he can use anything then.
Okay, that'd be good since he only had the line weapon.
Flaming sword.
Yeah, so I grabbed those two rifles from him. I also purchased a tactical dashikari, which is basically a melee weapon, and a light bayonet bracket to attach it to one of my rifles.
Ooh. Sounds dangerous.
Yeah. It's just to have a melee weapon for attacks of opportunity rather than holding one in my hand. I'll always have it on.
Still keeping your knife, right?
I don't have it on me anymore.
Oh.
Oh no!
That knife was iconic.
Don't you mean iaconic?
I get a personal upgrade Mark 1 and a personal upgrade Mark 2.
Sweet.
I also got attention deflectors.
They're just so good.
I got standard dark vision capacitors,
Nice.
so I can see in the dark, and a repair spider Mark 2.
That sounds good to me. What's that repair spider do?
Any spiders that you have that are broken, it'll take care of it.
That's it, exactly. Thank you.
I'm a beetle. Is that close enough?
You might end up with a couple extra legs at the end of it.
What the spider does is when you take a long rest, it'll enact some repairs and restores 2d8 hit points.
Neat. So it repairs hit points specifically, but not stamina.
Correct.
Is that is a long rest like the 10-minute rest we use to?
No.
Or is that longer?
No. Long rest is like
a sleep.
Yeah, once per night.
8 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Short rest is the 10 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna have I have more shopping to do in the future. I haven't worked out all the details because I was a little muddled. I muddled myself a bit, but so I'll probably have to mention. But it won't be anything major. The only thing major probably is going to be like the synaptic accelerators for the intelligence. So.
That is all good stuff from you guys here. So a lot of upgrades, some rebuilds going on, and a nice big shopping trip for everyone. So yeah, you guys definitely deserved it. That was like the big reward for season 1, because you guys went through everything and managed to bring down Quick Switch. And he was a tough character too. So there was a lot of stuff that you could went wrong with that one, but you guys did it really, really well, broke right into the ship, tracked him down, and managed to resolve all of that.
You mean there was more that could have gone wrong?
Hey, you never know. You never know. Let's go ahead and wrap up season 1 with a couple of little small things for all of you. Wildstrike lands the Steel Haven at Iacon Spaceport, and Ironhide is waiting there with a small army of bots. It looks like he called in every favor he could and got a battalion of former Autobot soldiers there to clear the port. As soon as you land, Ironhide orders the prisoners arrested and sends those injured to Central Reclamation with a heavy escort. Fixit arrives and tends to any injuries, paying careful attention to voltage, and examining Quick Switch's body. Outside the landing berth, the reporters are already forming a gauntlet, each one jockeying for position to get shots of all of you, but Ironhide escorts you all away from the port as quick as he can and back to the ISS building. Over the next few days, we see life returning to normal over Iacon. The vid walls that displayed the Cybertron First emblem now show ads for Macadam's new oil house. The ranks of the badgeless were thinned, and many of them were just not comfortable staying in their role after being so thoroughly used. For many of them, this was the first taste of real combat, the type that most of the neutrals avoided during the war. The existence of the Cerebro shells became public knowledge and led to hysteria as con artists started selling head armor and neck shields to prevent future takeovers, and lines of bots stream out from the repair clinics on an almost daily basis, paranoid concern that the slightest injury will let a Cerebro shell in. And the four of you take some much-needed time to yourselves. Now, I want you to imagine this as if it's the closing sequence of a movie. Peaceful music plays as we see each of the heroes doing what they can to rest and recuperate. We see Carapace returning to the weapons lockup, pointing at that electric shotgun. Him and Backstop take the gun, head on over to the firing range, and we see the two of them blasting away at hollow targets, each trying to show up the other one, trying to see who's the best. We pan outside the building as Magnum is checking his comm unit. 12 unread messages light up along the display, all from Hold Stuffatron. It starts off pleasant, but each message gets meaner and more insistent because you haven't paid him yet. Finally, the last one says, "This is an automated message from Hold Stuffatron. Your delivery is still awaiting pickup. Current storage fee is 142 Shanix. You have 3 days to confirm receipt, otherwise your goods will be disposed of." As you rush out the door, the comm device displays one more text message. This one from the bounty hunter Hardtop. "Welcome back to Iacon, hero. I'll be talking with you real soon." We pan upwards from Magnum into the skies to see Wildstrike weaving through the towers of Iacon, playing chicken with Metroplex's comm tower. He pulls up at the last possible second, half transforming mid-flight and running along the vertical surface of the building. So cool. As he levels off and flies away, the tower transforms and shakes an angry fist at him.
Damn kid.
As he streaks across the sky, a familiar red, blue, and gray Seeker approaches quickly from the city center. Starscream calls out to him and pulls up to fly in formation next to him. "I couldn't help but overhear that you're looking for information." And we fade to black. A decacycle later, you're all gathered in Stormrunner Memorial Speedway. Ambassador Sweetspot and Knockout leading a silent procession around the track. Not just Velocitronians, but Eukarans, Cybertronians, Camions, and Divisions all joined the entourage as the quiet lap memorializes all those who had fallen during the battle with Cybertron First. The lap comes to a close in front of a stage. Starscream approaches the podium. "My fellow Cybertronians, we are gathered here to honor the memory of the fallen, those that have made the ultimate sacrifice to preserve our way of life. We shall never forget who they were or what they did for the betterment of our race." He steps aside for Zaron to take his place, and he begins to read off a list of names. Names of all the bots who lost their lives during the conflict. What's going through your heads while this is going on? Sweet Spot, we'll start with you.
Well, I'll probably be thinking about the green spark and my mission. My mind will wander. I'm wondering if there's some way I could have dodged all this local strife and death at the hands of C1. If things played out differently, would my master be secure with his life force by now? If I had gotten involved, would things have played out differently? Would Carapace even care to get involved? Would Magnum's capture by the bounty hunter have been stalled? Could things have been worse? Or would they have been better? That's what my mind is wandering on.
What about you, Carapace? What's going through Carapace's head?
I'm not as complicated as Sweet Spot is. I mean, I find these sort of things kind of unnecessary. You know, I mean, like, this is like the kind of like pomp and circumstance that I tend to dislike. I'm standing here because I know it's going to get me something useful in the long run, but not because I want to be here. People die. I'm glad I'm not one of them. That's kind of that's how I feel about it.
And what about you, Wildstrike? The only Decepticon here, the only person with a faction here. What's going through your head?
Well, Wildstrike is thinking about all the senseless deaths brought upon by these traitors. Autobots, Decepticons. We used to fight for something, fight for a purpose. But this... what does the badge even mean anymore? I don't know.
And Magnum.
Meow, 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 meow. Sorry, just kidding.
Are you, though?
The air was grim, just like the news. And the speeches were long and tedious. But we wouldn't forget the sacrifices of that guy and the other dude. But I was forced to think of other matters. My forthcoming trip to Scarvix, which can't be put off much longer, if I can help it. And that's what he'll be thinking about. I mean, he'll brood as best as possible.
No one broods better.
Can always depend on Magnum to lighten the tension, huh? Zaron finishes up reading off the names of the fallen.
Lastly, Ambassador Sweetspot has something that he would like to add.
And the ambassador steps up to the podium.
Thank you, Zaron. And thank all of you for being here. Cybertronians, it is with a heavy spark that we all stand here in unity over our losses. But we have assembled in unity. We have done that. When I came here from Velostron, representing Velostron for Velostronians, I had no idea I was a Cybertronian. I know this because my spark is heavy with these losses as well. My gears whine with the stresses I have exerted trying to prevent not just one of the deaths we mourn here today, but all of them. There are a few here from our neighbors on Earth. When Earth was suggested to join with our council, it was thought that they could learn much from us, but it is us that can learn from them. I have read that they have Americans, Africans, Europeans, Asians, and Australians. Their clans have spread and fought over each and every continent on their small, life-covered planet. They are on the verge of peace among all their people in the span of a fraction of one of our lifetimes. We too are spread across the ocean of stars, but we are all one race. We are all Transformers. We've been through quite a bit this last year, I think the humans call it. C1's hate speech and terrorist attacks have forced us into a kind of lockdown in ways, unable to be the social bots that we are happiest being, afraid to go anywhere and catch the cerebro cells that were infecting so many. The social unrest due to our differences in origin has to stop, and I'm confident it will, because now we know, and knowing is half the battle. We are not just the colonies we live in or were built in. We are Transformers. Just like the humans, you are starting to see that they are not separate races due to their external appearances, belief system, or geographical origin, but one global race of humans. We too can learn that lesson. I, for one, am going to stop referring to myself as a Velocitronian. I come from there, I live and work there, and I'm proud of it. But if I'm asked, what are you? I am a Transformer, will be my reply. That is my race. That is my spiritual belief, and that is my new political platform. I would like to give my personal thanks to my companions, I'll gesture, Carapace, Magnum, and Wildstrike, as well as Rex, who could not be here with us today. Also, I will always remember and am grateful for the camaraderie, wisdom, and sheer bravery of one bot who has fallen from our ranks. Zephyr. Primes be with you all, and thank you.
The words of Ambassador Sweetspot echo throughout the crowd, and as the last vestiges of the service fade to nothing, we pan upwards to the evening sky over Cybertron. The stars of Primus' sky emerging for all to see. In the distance, one of those stars winks out, never to be seen again. And that is the end of Season 1. So we will see you all next time with the start of a new adventure and Season 2.
Until then, zip, 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 zoom.
Did a star just die?
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's
all right.
That's ominous. that's ominous.
This is Blaster, blasting out to the airwaves, bringing you the latest and greatest hits and news updates. I have big news for you today, so keep those audio receptors turned up to the max. Empire of Rust was created, written, and GM'd by Michael Ordway. Carapace is played by Patrick Finn. Wildstrike, the Decepticon, is played by Mike M. Pythagoras and Magnum are played by Matthew G. Sweetspot is played by Adam I. Chu. And last but no way least, Rex and his Dino Buds, Laser, Grazer, and Laser are played by Rob Muller. Keep the hits coming by supporting the show at transmissionspodcast.com/rust. And tune in to the Transmissions Network for all your Transformers news and reviews. This is Blaster, the voice of Cybertron's airwaves, blasting out.